welcome to round 2 with Eldrazi Evo. And uh, immediately presented with a hand that I don't know what to do with. The mana is just so awkward in it, because like this wants to be an elemental and an angel name, and it feels clunky. Like I'm casting like Voice on 2, nothing, and then Smasher on 4. I'm kind of off it, so I mulligan. This looks not great, but I'll take it. And I have to just find mana, so I bottom that. And I'm demonstrated that I really have to find mana because I just get Goblin Guided. So here I can either play a potentially, if I hit a white source off the top, a Painless Voice on 2, or turn to a Displacer. And I went through the deck, and it's 5 outs to hit Voice painlessly on 2. There's a Plains, 2 Razorverge Thickets, a Wooded Bastion, and the Cavern. And there's 4 outs of just Temples to hit Displacer on 2. And the reason I played the Forest is I actually would rather lead on Voice to block there. Just trade off the creatures. Like, if this gets bolted, I'd rather have the Elemental token. That was the tiebreaker, even though it's slightly more likely, or it's not, the slightly more likely is not relevant. It's slightly more likely that I play Voice without taking damage on 2, but I just much rather have this creature in play on 2 to block the Goblin Guide. And then also, if I draw the Temple, curving this into Thought-Knot Seer is pretty good. I do not. There's an Evo on top. And I just take about 1,000,000 damage, and then some more there on the Voice. So I trade off with the Goblin Guide and take 1,000,000 more damage, and everything's horrible. And there's a Suspended Riftbolt, and there's exactly one way I guess I can take the Riftbolt damage and hope my opponent... I guess, so there's 2 options. I can do nothing. I opt to Evo this to Spellskite. I guess that was just bad. I should have just taken the Riftbolt and then hope my opponent just drew lands forever. It's the same amount of damage either way, because I take a damage to cast it and then 2 damage to redirect the Spellskite. And then the Spellskite's going to block Monastery Swiftspear and die anyways, so I should have just... Anyways, for the 0 that it matters, my opponent drew another burn spell and I died horribly. Okay, so the start over sideboarding is pretty straightforward. Worship, unbeatable. Thinks, great. Gain life. This card says gain life, great. Spellskite, redirects and blocks. Then I brought in the Eidolon on the logic that it chokes up burn spells, but I think that's wrong in retrospect because the instants let my opponent play 1 in their turn, 1 on my turn. It doesn't do anything. The cards I boarded out are all pretty clunky and not great. This card doesn't cost white and green mana. It has 2 power and toughness. That's about it. Not doing anything. I guess it kills Eidolon. Didn't consider that at the time, but it's kind of low impact and just dies. Cards I keep are just all good. Gearhulk helps smash Race, even though it's clunky. These are just all the good creatures. Yeah, maybe Pride Mage should have stayed in, but this is how I boarded for the matchup. I believe that that's slightly wrong in retrospect. Okay, welcome to game 2 of Eldritch Evolution Eldrazi against Burn. And we keep the unbeatable hand, just dead. I don't know what my opponent's supposed to do against this. This is just classic, like, broken Eldrazi style hand. So, Bird, they Goblin Guide me. I turn off my brain because nothing I do matters at this point. Jam the Thought-Knot Seer. Look at their hand, which is, well, this is the unique card that's going to slow me down. So I'm going to take Searing Blaze here. This card does nothing, and these deal 4 damage, but this kills my bird and does 1 less damage, so I may as well take the better card. And so my opponent pump fakes an attack, but I'm just going to snap block if they do that. They play 2 Dorks. They could have gotten in 3 damage by trading one of the Dorks off, so that might have actually been better for them, honestly, than what occurred. So here, I I think that there's a chance that I can just start getting like weirdly raced back if I don't clog up the board. I also just don't want my stuff to randomly die. So also the Smasher can't profitably attack here, just trades for 2 Goblin Guides. So I just offer to get my Displacer up with protection. Just have this board that's basically unbreakable. And my opponent just concedes the game before I can even smash her because they're just super dead. I assume they drew a land that turn, and yeah, this is not going anywhere fun for them in the slightest. It's just really bad news. Welcome to game 3 of Burn versus Eldrazi Evolution. And you see my one sideboard change between the 2 games is that I sideboarded in Malira. With the logic that I just want a creature that steps in front of Goblin Guide. I took out the Eidolon because it's a 3-drop on the draw. This looked okay to me. It's got creatures to clog up the ground. And my opponent's just on a mono burn hand, it looks like. So here, I'm playing the Temple on 1 to delay my decision about Cavernous Souls here. Whether I want to name which of my 8 million things. I'm not gonna play Horizon Canopy on 1, obviously. So I take my 3 damage. My opponent plays Eidolon on 2, which is pretty good against this specific hand. I'm going to name Oof because I'm going to try to name or play Kitchen Finks, and I get to stick my Spellskite with the intent of blocking things up here. And Spellskite gets Searing Blaze when it goes for the block. I have to block. I can't not block. And so I take 1 damage to extend my Kitchen Finks through the Eidolon, effectively. And take some damage off of a generic Lightning Bolt effect. And so here's where my bad options start coming into play. I can take 2 off of this, going to 5 damage to Smasher my opponent, putting them to 9. But that puts me into 2 burn spell range. If I Evo the Finks, I go down to 3 with my opponent having left up mana and 3 cards in hand, so I just die in response to whatever. My plan was to survive that turn, like hope they only have 2 burn spells, draw land, and then I can like run a Smasher at them or whatever. And not cast any of my low drop spells there. And then after that, potentially deals with the Eidolon once they start having to block, I can Evo up something. And I'm going to just pass the turn and hope I don't get attacked and die. So I take 4 damage off of Boros Charm. And then they slow roll a burn spell on me, and I die. Small mistake. I should have ended turn sacked the Canopy because I'm not tapping it for mana at 1 life to draw the card. I draw a card now, and it's just a brick. And I get Atarka's Commanded out of the game. So the awkwardness of my mana base definitely showed itself there. And I think I kept some subpar. I think I maybe should have just mulliganed that hand because I think I need fast Eldrazi hands for this matchup. But I don't know. It may have just been how my hand lined up against Eidolon that punished me there. It's hard to say. Matchup doesn't seem great. My mana's pretty mediocre, and my start of my curve is kind of sketchy at times, which is kind of a big punisher against Burn. It's kind of funny because I've been talking so much crap about Burn and saying that everything beats it, and I finally have a deck that I lose to it and I don't feel great about it with. This card was just embarrassing. In Bant Eldrazi, it's good because you have multiple colors and they're all Eldrazi, but I don't think that the split of creatures in this deck really supports this card. So if I play this deck ever again, this card's immediately getting cut.